The session that we just had was very, very informative and very helpful, especially for all the women that were invited to attend this session. As you know, malaria is a serious issue in Africa in general and in Cameroon in particular. It's an endemic disease and everyone suffers from malaria. But unfortunately, the initiative, the intervention to address this disease are not always very appropriate, because people will focus on treatment and very often they will take any drug that they have access to, and this will create some resistance. So I think for me the focus should be on prevention, preventing the disease, and then providing people with the information that they need to prevent the disease.
I've also learned that the mosquito that bites and gives malaria cannot also transmit AIDS. It bites, it sucks blood, and it gives you the germ of the malaria. And after some time, you can start presenting the symptoms. And the germ goes first to the lungs and stay. When it comes too much, it comes out and kills your red blood cells. Then you start presenting the symptoms and you can fall sick. And I've also learned that it kills more than all other diseases that we are afraid of. It kills millions, 300 million people all over the world. It kills children. I've done a lot. And it has helped me a lot, and I will help our women group in my church. I'll give the information as I've also understood. So I'm so happy for it.
And this is exactly what happened during this session. The women were able to know what is malaria. They were able to know the causes of malaria. They were able to know the cycle of malaria in the body. And now they are well equipped to teach other people on how to prevent malaria. And then in addition to this, they receive mosquito nets, which is really great. Because just imagine that a mosquito net costs around 5,000 CFA francs. So it's not something that is easy for everyone to have access to. So receiving this mosquito net plus the information, I think that was really a very, very successful initiative.
I'm going to use it as a means of protection against mosquito bites, because I've just learned from the program that mosquitoes cause fever, and because of that, that is why I came here for this program, in order to have a mosquito net to protect myself.
The malaria net will really help because, mosquitoes are everywhere. So even if people take like preventive treatment, they are still exposed to the bite of mosquitoes. So sleeping under a mosquito net, that's one of the best approach to reduce the number of people who will get infected or who will become ill, because the mosquito net have the two aspects: serving as a barrier, but also because it's treated mosquito net, it will kill the mosquito. So this is very important for me.
I've learned much because, first of all, I never knew that malaria or fever can be caused by just a mosquito. I thought that maybe it can be caused through other things, but today I've learned it. Particularly, they said a female mosquito. I thought that all type of mosquito can cause that, but I learned that the female mosquito is the one that transmits malaria. The explanation that was given really impressed me, because they said when the mosquito sucks the blood, it transmits now the virus that it causes now the malaria. So I was really happy about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconception about malaria, about the causes of malaria, and also about how to prevent malaria. So I think the key information that the women were able to get was about the cycle of malaria. Because very often people say, I have malaria in my bloodstream. So they don't understand why. So explaining the cycle of the malaria in the mosquito and then in the human body, the plasmodium will first get into the liver, and then from the liver will move to the bloodstream, and that's where the red cells will explode. So explaining this information, they were able to understand, I can have a mosquito bite, but I will not have malaria right away. So I think this is something that is very important that they were able to learn.
It is good to prevent malaria. Malaria is good. The prevention is better. It's good. So we should dry away all standing water, fill places, clean our compounds clean, remove all grass because it helps mosquitoes to grow. That is to avoid, we learn to avoid the presence of mosquitoes.
Also, they learn how water could lead to malaria, because many people thought that if you drink dirty water, you will get malaria. But during the session, the facilitators explain how water is like a step in the reproduction of the plasmodium, because the mosquito will lay eggs in stagnant waters, and then these eggs will now give birth to new mosquitoes, and the mosquitoes will now bite people. So if you don't have stagnant waters in your environment, then the mosquito will not be able to lay eggs there. So the women were able to learn this difference between drinking dirty water and then having stagnant water that will lead to malaria.
My life has really changed because I know that there are some symptoms that we're giving here. If I happen to find any of it in my life or in the life of my husband, or even in the life of any child that comes to stay with me, I know how I can easily take care of that child. First of all, a child that convulses, I will not just treat the child as how we used to locally do it. I'll make sure I rush the child to the hospital, because I know that if I should keep the child at home, it can even affect his brain and it will be a great problem tomorrow. So I've learned much from this program. So I'm very, very grateful.
The solution for malaria is like an integrated intervention. It should be both prevention and treatment. It should also be research, because if we could have a vaccine, that would be a very, very important step. But for now, there's not a vaccine, there's not immunization against malaria. I think it's important to really mobilize the communities, to mobilize women, because women are those who take care of the family. They are those who are in charge of everyone in the family when someone is sick. So if we can build their capacity so that they know how to prevent malaria, that will be one step, that very important step. And then the second step will be to provide mosquito nets to every single person where there's malaria, where there are mosquitoes. So access to mosquito nets, that's one very important step. And also now having like treatment, having access to treatment, because now it's easy to treat malaria when it's in the early stage. But unfortunately, people will wait until it becomes like very serious before they go to the hospital. So if people have access to treatment, simple treatment, I think this will like mitigate some of the impact of malaria in Africa. So just in a nutshell, I would say providing mosquito nets to everyone, and also training people on how to prevent malaria. What are some of the simple things that they can do to avoid the mosquitoes? And I really thank BethesdaAfrika for this initiative. We hope that in the near future you will be able to target more than 100 women, because there are many other women in Bafoussam, in rural areas, who need this same information. REDEF is an NGO. We work at the grassroots level, and then we know how much people suffer from malaria. So I think there's a great need. It's really an emergency that we do something to teach people how to prevent malaria. With very simple technologies, simple health technologies, we can prevent much suffering and death. Every second, we have many people who are affected by malaria. This is something that should not leave us just like this. We should do something to change this situation.